Going for the gut definitely has an advantage over going to the brain. How successful we are at thinking rationally about certain kinds of problems should not be thought of as something that goes on just within your head, as in a kind of pure willpower model, but that how rational any of us succeed in being is often strongly determined by the environment that we find ourselves in. So you can think of it easily with respect to resisting temptation. I mean, I use the example of addiction and overeating and things like that because those are actually examples of irrationality, right? Which is that with respect to overeating, a huge percentage of the population is sort of on a diet, which means that we wake up in the morning and we vow not to eat, this, that, or the other thing. And then over the course of the day, we fail, right? We change our minds, we suffer weakness, right? That's a kind of irrationality. And that's like the old mind winning over the new mind, right? Because the old mind is the one that looks at the hamburger and says, I want that. And the new mind is the one that's counting calories. Now, how can you reduce the chances, though, of the old mind winning? Well, one of them is by control of the environment. And so with the example of food, you can see quite clearly how one of the easiest ways of sticking to a diet, for example, is not to expose yourself to the kinds of foods that you're tempted to eat. So the literature on dieting, for a very long time, worked entirely within a willpower framework. And it was just like you and your brain versus the world. And you just had to get your brain set right. And you had to have so it was like what some people call the New Year's resolution model of dieting, which is that you just commit yourself to a program and then you stick to it. Now, increasingly, psychologists have gotten more sophisticated about this, and they've shown how there are ways in which your environment strongly affects how much you eat, regardless of how much willpower you have. A portion size has a huge impact on how much people eat. Dishes also have been getting larger. So there's an example of the psychologist Brian Wansink gives this example. He shows how plates in America have gotten larger and larger over time. So that sometimes the antique dealers, people will come up and they'll have a set of dinner plates and they'll say, well, this is a really nice set of dessert plates, but where are the dinner plates? And he'll say, no, these were the dinner plates. 80 years ago, that's what people ate for dinner. And now we have these giant plates, right? So anyhow, so he says, look, if you want to eat less, buy smaller plates. And if you have to, go to an antique store and buy like old-fashioned plates back when they were this big instead of when they were that big. And once you have a smaller plate, you'll serve yourself less food. And when you serve yourself less food, you'll actually eat less food. So there's an example of the way in which controlling your environment can, in this very subtle way, can actually give a leg up to the new mind over the old mind, right? So the old mind will always have the greater motivational appeal. But the new mind is tricky, right? The new mind can think ahead, and the new mind can sort of rig things in such a way that it's going to win the contest.